We are talking about the explosive rumors swirling around Ryan Paevey's potential departure from General Hospital. If these whispers hold any weight, we are not just looking at a standard cast exit or a quiet fade into the background. We are looking at the culmination of a massive, high-stakes narrative involving Cassius Faison, the man who has been wearing the face of the beloved Nathan West. Something isn't adding up anymore with how Cassius is maneuvering through the criminal underworld, and the pieces are starting to shift in a way that suggests a catastrophic event is on the horizon. The tension in the air is palpable, and as viewers, we can feel that a massive explosion of truth is imminent. We are standing on the precipice of a storyline climax that could leave the entire town reeling and mourning. The stakes have never been higher, and the danger has never felt more real, especially with ruthless players like Jen Sidwell and WSB director Ross Cullum tightening their iron grip on the innocent citizens of Port Charles. Let us take a moment to truly analyze the suffocating atmosphere right now. Jen Sidwell has vanished, setting a deadly revenge trap that threatens Sonny Corinthos, Laura Collins, and Lucas Jones. Meanwhile, Ross Cullum is cornering Carly Spencer at her home and threatening Lulu Spencer at Windermere. The villains are winning, or at least they think they are. But hidden within this chaos is Cassius Faison. He was brought in as a pawn, a fake Nathan West designed by sinister forces to manipulate and deceive the people who love the real detective. Yet, his recent actions are painting a very different picture. He is a man caught between two worlds, the dark, toxic legacy of his bloodline and the inherent goodness of the face he wears every single day. If the rumors of his exit are true, the writers are not going to let him simply slip away into the night or rot in a Pentonville cell after his identity is exposed. They are going to give him an exit that shakes the very foundation of the show. We are looking at a scenario where the ultimate imposter might just deliver the ultimate sacrifice. This brings us to the crucial piece of the puzzle. We need to look at a very specific, easily overlooked detail that changes the entire context of Cassius's current trajectory. Consider his recent interactions, specifically the fact that someone heavily implied to be Cassius himself has been stepping up to protect Lulu Spencer from Ross Cullum's aggressive threats at Windermere. Why would a ruthless imposter care about Lulu's well-being? Furthermore, look at his behavior regarding Jen Sidwell. Cassius was supposed to facilitate Sidwell's operations and put him in jail, yet he actively advised Sidwell to flee the country. And when the heat came down during the interrogation at the PCPD, who stepped up to defend Cassius? Dante Falconeri. Dante, the man who loved the real Nathan West like a brother, stood up for the imposter. It may not be a coincidence. Cassius is experiencing a profound internal crisis. He is seeing the honor, the forgiveness, and the loyalty of the people he was hired to destroy. Something feels off about Cassius simply playing the role of a villainous lackey. When Nina Reeves was grilling him at the Metro Court about Liesl Obrecht, you could see the cracks in his armor. He knows Liesl is locked in a prison cell at Windermere. He knows Carly Spencer is walking right into a trap. He is carrying the crushing weight of all these secrets, and it is visibly destroying him from the inside out. The clue here isn't just a single action, it is the undeniable pattern of hesitation. It is the subtle moments where Cassius looks at Dante, or looks at Lulu, and realizes the immense collateral damage his deception is causing to these good people. He is a man who is handed a script of pure evil, but he is desperately trying to rewrite his own lines before the final curtain falls. The guilt is eating him alive, and that guilt is the catalyst for what we believe is about to happen next. Now, let us start connecting the dots, because the bigger question is how this internal conflict collides with the external danger currently hunting down our characters. We know that Ross Cullum and Lulu Spencer have both received valuable new intelligence. This intelligence is heavily tied to Rocco Falconeri and Britt Westbourne, who are currently on the run for their lives. Rocco has already discovered something horrifying, and they are facing a terrifying near-capture situation. If Cullum is the one tracking them down, utilizing all the corrupt, highly trained resources of the WSB, then Rocco and Britt are entirely out of their depth. They cannot outrun a man like Cullum forever. He is a predator, and they are his prey. This is where the puzzle pieces start to form a terrifying, blood-stained picture. If Cassius is aware of Cullum's intelligence, and as an insider working close to the vest, he almost certainly is, then he knows exactly what Cullum plans to do. He knows that Cullum does not leave loose ends. If Cullum finds Rocco and Britt, he will not just arrest them, he will eliminate them to protect his own dark secrets and advance his agenda. There may be more to this story when we consider the stolen Port Elizabeth County police files and the elaborate tricks Ethan Lovett is pulling in the background. The underworld network is buzzing, and Cassius has a front row seat to the impending slaughter. If you ask me, Cassius is doing the terrifying math in his head. He sees the explosive trap Jen Sidwell set for Sonny, Laura, and Lucas. He sees Cullum zeroing in on an innocent child, Rocco, and a beloved doctor, Britt. He realizes that if he does nothing, the blood of Dante's son will be on his hands forever. Dante, the only man who treated him with a shred of dignity and defended him during his darkest hour, that's where things become interesting. Cassius cannot maintain his cover or his allegiance anymore. The psychological toll of pretending to be a hero while enabling monsters has reached its absolute breaking point. If he simply runs away, as he advised Sidwell to do, he will spend the rest of his miserable life looking over his shoulder, haunted by the ghosts of the innocent people he let die. If he stays and continues to play the loyal soldier for these villains, he loses whatever tiny shred of humanity he has managed to cultivate. Therefore, the only logical path forward for a character seeking true redemption, especially if the actor is leaving the canvas permanently, is a complete and total rebellion against his masters. He has to dismantle the machine from the inside, and he has to do it before Cullum pulls the trigger on Rocco. This leads us to the massive, heartbreaking theory that could define the entire summer of General Hospital. We firmly believe that the writers are preparing a deeply tragic but incredibly heroic conclusion for Cassius Faison. The confrontation is inevitable. Cullum is going to track down Rocco and Britt to their remote, desperate hideout. We can envision the cinematic scene perfectly. A dark, isolated location, the pouring rain, and Cullum's heavily armed WSB operatives surrounding the exhausted fugitives. Rocco, terrified but trying to be brave, and Britt, ready to fight to the death to protect the boy. Cullum steps forward, raising his weapon with cold precision, ready to silence these witnesses permanently. But then, out of the shadows, comes Cassius. He doesn't arrive as an agent of the WSB or a pawn of Jen Sidwell. He arrives as a protector. In that split second of life and death, as Cullum fires the fatal shot meant for Rocco, Cassius makes the ultimate choice. He throws himself into the line of fire. He takes the bullet meant for Dante and Lulu's son. This wouldn't just be an accident. It would be a deliberate, calculated sacrifice. By giving his own life to save Rocco, Cassius achieves a redemption that no courtroom, no trial, and no prison sentence could ever provide. He proves that while he may have stolen Nathan West's face, he eventually learned to embody Nathan West's courageous, selfless spirit. But the brilliance of this theory does not stop at a simple physical sacrifice. Cassius is a highly intelligent man. He knows that taking a bullet only saves Rocco for one night. To truly protect the people of Port Charles and ensure these monsters never hurt anyone again, he has to cut off the head of the snake. This could explain a lot about his recent secretive behavior and his guarded emotions. What if, during his entire time working alongside Cullum and Sidwell, Cassius has been quietly gathering evidence? Every encrypted email, every offshore bank transfer, every recorded conversation detailing their illegal operations, their hostage situations at Windermere, and their deadly traps. He has been compiling a master dossier of their crimes. His betrayal isn't just physical. It is a complete, systematic dismantling of their entire criminal empire. If this theory proves true, the aftermath will be nothing short of seismic. As Cassius lies, dying, bleeding out on the cold ground after saving Rocco, he isn't just a defeated villain taking his last breath. He is the architect of Cullum and Sidwell's absolute destruction. We theorize that before he even stepped into that line of fire, Cassius arranged for this massive cache of damning evidence to be sent directly to the one man he trusts to finish the job, Dante Falconeri. Or perhaps He secretly routed it directly to the PCPD servers, ensuring that ADA, Justine Turner, and Harrison Chase have no choice but to act immediately. Imagine the sheer emotional weight of that moment. Dante, racing to the scene with sirens blaring, finds his son alive and unharmed, but at the cost of the man who looks exactly like his deceased best friend. Dante is handed a flash drive, a secure cloud link, or a physical file from a dying Cassius. The evidence contained within is the silver bullet that will bring Ross Cullum to his knees and expose Jen Sidwell's entire network to the world. The villains who thought they were untouchable, who thought they could manipulate Port Charles without consequence, will suddenly find themselves stripped of their power, their assets frozen, and their freedom gone, all because they severely underestimated the conscience of an imposter. The ripple effects throughout Port Charles would be monumental and long-lasting. Who loses everything? Cullum and Sidwell. Their reign of terror is permanently over. Who benefits? The entire town. Laura, Sonny, Lucas, Jocelyn, Liesel, and Carly are all freed from the imminent danger hanging over their heads. But the most profound impact will be on the legacy of Cassius himself. He will not be remembered merely as the creep who tried to steal Nathan's life and manipulate his family. The town of Port Charles, recognizing the magnitude of his sacrifice and the invaluable evidence he provided to law enforcement, might actually posthumously honor him. Dante and Lulu will have the impossible task of explaining to Rocco that the man who saved him was a complicated figure, a man who did terrible things but ultimately chose the light in his final, defining moments. It gives Ryan Paevey's character a legendary send-off, transforming a highly controversial storyline into an absolute masterpiece of redemption. Let us also consider the psychological impact on Maxie Jones. While she isn't directly in the line of fire right now, the news that someone wearing Nathan's face died to save Dante's son will absolutely shatter her all over again. Yet, it might perhaps provide a strange, beautiful sense of closure. It proves that there is a lingering aura of goodness associated with Nathan, an aura so strong that it managed to infect the very man sent to mock his memory. The poetic justice of Cassius using his final breaths to tear down the WSB corruption that Ross Cullum represents is simply too good of a narrative opportunity for the writers to pass up. We must remain vigilant as viewers. We must watch how the PCPD handles the impending chaos. We must watch how Dante balances his duties with his growing realization that Cassius is breaking rank. The evidence is mounting, the trap is set, and the players are all moving into their final fatal positions on the board. The sheer scale of the danger Jen Sidwell has unleashed cannot be overstated. He completely ignored Cassius's advice to flee, choosing instead to set a revenge trap that threatens the core families of Port Charles. Sidwell's arrogance will be his ultimate undoing, but he never expected the lethal knife in the back to come from his own associate. Cassius's betrayal is the ultimate blindside. By gathering the financial records, the communication logs, and the operational blueprints of Sidwell's syndicate, Cassius is essentially handing Dante the keys to the kingdom. Dante, who has been questioning Harrison Chase's motives and struggling with the bureaucracy of the PCPD, will finally have the undeniable, ironclad proof he needs to act with absolute authority and wipe these villains off the map. We may be looking at the beginning of something huge, a storyline shift that will leave viewers in tears and completely redefine how we view the concept of villains and heroes on this show. The truth could be closer than anyone realizes, and the writers are expertly laying the groundwork for this explosive climax right in front of our eyes. Every lingering glance Cassius gives, every moment of hesitation, every protective instinct he shows toward Lulu and Rocco, it is all building toward this singular, defining moment of sacrifice. Someone may not be ready for what's coming next. The audience needs to brace themselves for a deeply emotional, gut-wrenching ride. If you have been hating Cassius for his deception, you might just find yourself weeping for his demise. The true brilliance of a soap opera lies in its ability to twist our expectations, to take a character we despise and force us to mourn them. As the summer heats up and Cullum's net tightens around Rocco and Britt, keep your eyes on Cassius Faison. The puzzle is almost complete. The rumors of Ryan Paevey's departure are the smoke, and this heroic, tragic sacrifice is the fire. We are witnessing the final days of Cassius Phazon, not as a coward running from the law, but as a silent guardian stepping into the light. Prepare yourselves, guys, because when that fatal shot rings out in the dark, it will echo through the halls of General Hospital for years to come. The truth is about to be revealed, and it will cost a man his life to bring it into the light.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.